And good feeling. I say, we are much obliged to you for your expressions of satisfaction and good feeling.
We heard you.
We are delighted, at any time, to fall in with sentiments so charmingly expressed.
That's all right.
At the same time, there's just one little grievance that we should like to ventilate.
What?
Don't be alarmed. Not serious. It is arranged that until it is decided which of us two is the actual king, we are to act as one person.
Exactly.
Now, although we are to act as one person, we are in point of fact two persons.
I don't think we can get into that. It is a legal fiction, and legal fictions are solemn things. Situated as we are, we can't recognise two independent responsibilities.
No. But you can recognise two independent appetites. It's all very well to say that we are to act as one person, but when you supply us with only one ration between us, I should describe it as a legal fiction carried a little too far.
It's rather a nice point. I don't like to express an opinion offhand. Suppose we reserve it for argument before the ambassador?
Yes, but what are we to do in the meantime?
We want our king.
I think we can make an interim order for double rations on our Majesties entering into their usual undertakings to indemnify in the event of an adverse decision.
That, I think, would meet the case. But you must work hard. Stick to it. Nothing like work.
Oh, certainly. We quite understand that a man who holds a magnificent position of king should do something to justify it. We are called Your Majesty. We are allowed to buy ourselves magnificent clothes. Our subjects frequently nod to us, and always return our salutes. And we enjoy the inestimable privilege of heading the subscriptioners to all principal charities. In return for these advantages, the least we could do is make ourselves useful about the villa. Rising early in the morning, we proceed to of the day. First, we polish some batches of political dispatches and foreign politicians circumvent. Then if business isn't heavy, we may hold a royal levy or ratify an article of law. Then we probably review the House of Troops with the shallow hoops, or receive a ceremonial and state. An interesting history potentate. After that we generally go and dress a private body. It's a rather nervous duty, he's a touchy little man. Write some letters literary for our private secretary. He is shaky in his belly, so we help him if we can. Then in view of cravings dinner, we go down and order dinner. Then we polish the regalia and the coronation plate. Spend an hour debating, all our gentlemen in waiting, or we run on little errands for the Secretary of State. Oh, philosophers we sing of the troubles of the king, yet the duties are delightful and the privilege is great, and the privilege and pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is to run on little errands for the Secretary of State.
Oh, philosophers we sing of the troubles of the king, yet the duties are delightful and the privilege is great, and the privilege and pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is to run on little errands for the Secretary of State.
After luncheon, making merry on a bun and glass of sherry, if we've nothing in particular to do, we may make a proclamation or receive a deputation. Then we possibly create a judge or two. Then we help the fellow preacher on his way with a promise of a venture that will pay. Then we dress and toddle off in semi-state to a festival, a function, or a fete. Then we go and serve a century and the father's politics, watching dinner, up and down and to and fro, while the weary and unruly goes in search of bigger beauty, and generally happens that he hasn't got to go. He relieves us if he's able, just in time to leave the table. Then we dine and serve a coffee, and at 12:30 or 1. With a pleasure that's emphatic, we retire to our attic with a gratifying feeling that our duty has been done. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of the king, but of pleasures there are many, and the worries there are none. And the culminating pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is a gratifying feeling that our duty has been done.
Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of the king, but the pleasures there are many, and the worries there are none. And the culminating pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is a gratifying feeling that our duty has been done.
Yes, it really is a pleasant existence. They're also singularly kind and considerate. You don't find them wanting to do this or wanting to do that or saying it.
It's my turn, no?
No. They let us have all the fun to ourselves and never seem to grudge it.
It makes one feel quite selfish. It almost seems like taking advantage of their good nature.
How nice they were about the double rations.
Most considerate. Ah, there's only one thing wanting to make us thoroughly comfortable.
And that is?
Our dear wives were left behind us 3 months ago.
Yes. It is dull without these female society. We could do without anything else, but we can't do without that.
And if we have that imperfection, we have everything. There's only one recipe for perfect happiness. Take a pair of sparkling eyes, hidden ever under none, in a merciful eclipse. Do not heed their mild surprise, having passed the Rubicon. Take a pair of rosy lips. Take a figure grimly grand, such as admiration wet. Be particular. Take a tender little hand, fringed with dainty fingerets, press it in parenthesis. Take all these, you lucky man. Live to love and love to live. You will ripen at your ease. Growing on the sun is fine. Fate has nothing more to give. You're a dainty man to please. If you're not satisfied, not satisfied. Take my counsel, happy man. Act upon it if you can. If you can, take my counsel, happy man. Act upon it if you can. If you can. Take my counsel, happy man. Act upon it if you can. If you can. If you can. Act upon it if you can. Happy man. If you can.
delightful surprise.
Yes, we thought you'd like it. You see, it was like this. After you left, everyone was so dull and mopey. So the days crawled by and you never wrote. So at last I said to Janetta, I can't stand this any longer. Those two poor monarchs haven't got anybody to look after them or tell them what to do. At least I hope they haven't. Let's all pack up a change and see how they're getting on. And she said, done! And they all said, done! And we asked our Jacopo to lend us money for the crossing, and he said, done! And we've crossed the sea, and thank goodness that's done, and here we are, and I'm done. And now, which of you is the king? And which of us is queen?
That we shall know until the nurse turns up. But never mind that. The question is, how shall we celebrate the commencement of our honeymoon? Ladies and gentlemen, will you allow us to offer you a magnificent banquet and dance?
Fancy ball?
No, not exactly. A little friendly dance, that's all. Sorry, you're late.
But I saw a groom dancing and a doorman. That's the Lord High Doorman. And dear me, a common policeman.
Oh no, that's the Lord High Policeman.
But surely the servants' hall is the place for these people.
Oh dear, no. We have appropriated the servants' hall. It's the royal apartment and accessible only by tickets obtainable at the Lord Chief of Staff's office.
We really must have some place we can call our own. I'm afraid I'm not quite equal to the intellectual pressure of the conversation.
You see, the monarchy has been remodelled on republican principles.
What?
All departments rank equally, and everyone is at the head of his own department.
I see. I'm afraid you're annoyed. No, I won't say that. It's not quite what I expected.
I'm awfully sorry.
So am I.
Oh, by the way, can I offer you anything after your voyage? A plate of macaroni and some pizza?
No, nothing.
Obliged to be careful.
Yes, gout. You see, in every court, there are distinctions which must be observed.
There are. Are there?
Why, of course. For instance, you wouldn't have a chief of staff playing leapfrog with his own cook.
Why not?
Why not? Because a chief of staff is a personage of great dignity, who should never, under any circumstances,
place himself in the position of being told to tuck in his tuppeny, except by a nobleman of his own rank. A Lord Chief Justice, for instance, may tell a Chief of Staff to tuck in his tuppeny. But certainly not a cook, gentlemen, certainly not a cook.
Not even a Lord High Cook?
My dear friend, that is a rank that is not recognised. No, it won't do. I'll give you an instance where the experiment was tried elsewhere.
There lived a king, as I've been told, in the wilder working days of old, when hearts were twice as good as gold, and 20 times as mellow. Who temper triumph in his face, and in his heart he found a place for all the erring human race, and every wretched fellow. When he had Rhenish wine to drink, it made him very sad to think that some junket or a chick must be content with toddy or He wished all men as rich as he, for he was rich as rich could be. So to the top of every tree, from home to everybody. Now that's the kind of king for me, he wished all men as rich as he. So to the top of every tree, from home to everybody. Our senators wear cheap the spread, and justices in white-brimmed hats, as plentiful as tabby cats, 'twas like a pantomime. Ambassadors cropped up like men, and congressmen and such as they, grew like asparagus in May, and served beyond their time. On every side a governor gleams, for beer where 4-star generals meet, with admirals the ocean team, all round his wide dominions. And party leaders you might meet in 2s and 3s in every street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions. Now that's a sight of good and faithful party leaders in the street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions. That king, although no one denies, his heart was of abnormal size, yet he had acted otherwise if he had been a tutor. The end is easily foretold, when every blessed thing you hold is made of silver or of gold. You long for simple pewter, when you have nothing else to wear but cloth of gold and satin thread, or cloth of gold you cease to care. Up goes the price of shoddy, of shoddy, up goes the price of shoddy. In short, whoever you may be, to this conclusion you agree, when everyone is somebody, and then no one's anybody. Now that's the way of thinking, to this conclusion we agree, when everyone is somebody, and then no one's anybody. Important news to communicate. His Grace the Duke of Plaza Toros, Her Grace the Duchess, and their beautiful daughter Casilda. I say their beautiful daughter Casilda.
We heard you.
Have arrived in Barataria and will be here at any moment.
The Duke and Duchess are nothing to us.
But the daughter, the beautiful daughter. Ha! You're a lucky dog, one of you.
I think you're a very incomprehensible gentleman.
Not a bit. I'll explain. Many years ago when you, whichever you are, were a little baby, you, whichever you are, were married to a little girl who has grown up to be the most beautiful young lady in Spain. That beautiful young lady will be here to claim you. whichever you are, in half an hour, and I congratulate that one, whichever it is, with all my heart.
Married with a baby. But we were married 3 months ago.
One of you, only one. The other, whichever it is an unintentional bigamist.
Well, upon my word!
Remind me, who are these young people?
Who are we? Why, they're wives, of course, who've just arrived.
The wives. Oh dear, this is most unfortunate. Oh dear, this complicates matters. Dear, what will Her Majesty say?
And do you mean to say that one of these monarchs was already married? And that neither of us will be a queen?
That was the idea I intended to convey.
Tessa, my...
Get away, perhaps it's you.
My poor...
Don't! Who knows whose husband you are? And why didn't you tell us about it before they left New York?
Because if I had, no earthly temptation would have induced these gentlemen to leave behind two such extremely fascinating and utterly irresistible little ladies.
There's something in that.
I might mention you will not be kept long in suspense, as the old lady who nursed the royal child is at present in the villa, waiting for me to interview her.
Poor old girl. Hadn't you better go and put us all out of our suspense?
Oh no, there's no hurry, and she's all right. She has all the illustrated papers. However, I will go and interrogate her. And in the meantime, may I suggest the absolute propriety of your regarding yourselves as a single young ladies? Good evening.
Well, here's a pleasant state of things.
Delightful. One of us is married to 2 young ladies, and nobody knows which. The other is married to 1 young lady who nobody can identify.
And one of us is married to one of you, and the other is married to nobody. But which of you is married to which of us, and what's to become of the other?
Ah, it's quite simple. Observe, 2 husbands have managed to acquire 3 wives. 3 wives, 2 husbands. That's 2/3 of a husband to each wife.
Mount Vesuvius. Here we are in arithmetic. My good sir, one can't marry a vulgar fraction.
You've no right to call me a vulgar fraction.
We're getting rather mixed. The situation is entangled. Let's try and comb it out.
In a contemplative fashion and a tranquil frame of mind, free from every kind of passion, some solution let us find. Let us grasp the situation, solve the complicated plot. Quiet, calm deliberation disentangles every knot. I no doubt Giuseppe wedded, that's of course a slice of life. He was rugged under headings to distinctly use a dime. I am fit to do human runs of passion, that is clear. He's so particularly stupid, so stupid, he's a dear.
To Jeanette I was mated, I can prove it in a trice. Though her charms are overrated, still I owe she's rather nice.
I took Tessa we all at once and nicked him fell. She's British old as sin, till she answers pretty well. She's a cynic till she answers pretty well.
Now when we were pretty babies, someone married us, that's clear.
After a lady man, we see the court refuse.
If I ever take my words, I'll look at her shaking that aristocratic. If she's married just as simply, and he will have to fight. If I had to do it, I want her to I'll teach her to marry the man of my heart. If she marries with the Russian or a sister, no matter what, I can get her to break down if I want them with war again. If I had to do it, I want her to teach her to marry the man of my heart. I can't do it.
Kind attention touches heart of Duke and heart of Duchess, who reside there met with profound regret. She of beauty was a mortal, when a tiny tittle toddle, and at 21 she's excelled by now. At 21 she's excelled by now. At 21 she's excelled by now.
She comes to claim the royal hand. Don't say that gracefully for a king who moves his lonely life. We raise his cross high.
Be good enough to inform His Majesty that His Grace, the Duke of Plaza Toros, Limited, has arrived and begs,
Desires.
demands, and demands an audience. And now, my child, prepare to receive the husband to whom you are united under such interesting and romantic circumstances.
Yes, but which is it? There's two of them.
It is true that at present His Majesty is a double gentleman, but as soon as the circumstances of his marriage are ascertained, he will, ipso facto, boil down to a single gentleman, thus presenting a unique example of an individual who becomes a single man and a married man by the same operation.
I have known instances in which the characteristics of both conditions existed concurrently in the same individual.
Ah, he couldn't have been a Plaza Toro.
Oh, couldn't he though?
Well, whatever happens, I shall of course be a dutiful wife, but I can never love my husband.
I don't know. It's extraordinary what unprepossessing people one can love if one gives one's mind to it.
I love your father.
I love that remark is a little hard, I think. Rather cruel, perhaps. Somewhat uncalled for, I venture to believe.
It was very difficult, my dear, but I said to myself, that man is a duke, and I will love him. Several of my relations bet I couldn't, but I did, desperately. On the day when I was wedded to your admirable sire, I acknowledge that I dreaded an explosion of his eye. I was overcome with panic, for his temper was volcanic, and I didn't dare revolt, for I feared a thunderbolt. I was always very wary, for his fury was ecstatic, his refined vocabulary most unpleasantly emphatic. To the thunder of this charter, I knocked under like a martyr. When intently he was fuming, I was gently unassuming. When reviling me completely, I was smiling very sweetly. I was smiling very sweetly, very sweetly. Living in the very best and renting back the very worst. That is how I tried to take your great progenitor at first. Living in the very best and getting back the very worst. That is how I tried to take your great But I found that a reliance on my friends and independence, and a resolute defiance of parental interference, and a gentle intimation of my full determination to see what I could do, to be wife and husband too, was the only thing required for to make his temper supple, and you couldn't have desired a more assimilated couple. Ever willing, we were moving, we were willing, we were moving. When I merely broken-hearted, we were clearly broken-hearted. When in sequel reunited, we were equally delighted.
Unaccustomed pocket money. A nobleman shady who can look back upon 95 quarterings. It is not every nobleman who is 95 quarters in arrears. I mean, who can look back on 95 of them. And this, just as I have been floated at a premium. Oh, 5!
Your Majesty is surely unaware that directly your Majesty's father came before the public, he was applied for over and over again.
My dear, Her Majesty's father was in the habit of being applied for over and over again, and very urgently applied for too, long before he was registered under limited liability. To help unhappy commoners and add to their enjoyment, affords a man of noble rank congenial employment. Of our attempts we offer you examples illustrative. The work is light, and I may add, it's most remunerative. Small titles and orders for mayors and recorders I get, and they're highly delighted.
They're highly delighted.
MPs baroneted, champ colonels gazetted, and second-rate aldermen knighted.
Yes, aldermen knighted.
Foundation stone laid, I find very paying. It adds a large sum to my makings.
Large sum to his makings.
At charity dinners, the best of speech spinners, I get 10% of the takings.
1/10 of the takings. I present any ladies, conducting shady or snagging of doubtful propriety.
Doubtful propriety.
When Gertrude Washer had taken my washer and launched in first-rate society.
First-rate society.
I recommend acres of clumsy dressmakers for their finishing touches.
Their finishing touches.
A solemn addition they pay for permission to say that they make for a duchess.
They make for a duchess. Those pressing purveyors, the ready-made tailors, quote me as their great double barrel.
The great double barrel.
I allow them to do so, though Robinson Crusoe would jib at their wearing apparel.
Such wearing apparel.
I sit by selection upon the direction of several companies' bubble.
All companies bubble.
As soon as they're floated, I'm freely banknoted, I'm pretty well paid for my trouble.
He's paid for his trouble. At Gilmore's party, I play a party, and I'm by no means a beginner.
She's not a beginner.
To one of my station, the remuneration I've been is a night at my dinner.
And wine with her dinner.
I'm right as is blatant, what medicine's patent, and use any other you mustn't.
You mustn't.
And while my complexion derives its perfection from somebody so rich it doesn't.
It certainly doesn't. We're ready as witness to anyone's fitness to fill any place or preferment.
A place of preferment. We're often in waiting at junket or feting, and sometimes attend an interment.
We enjoy an interment. In short, if you kindle the storm of a swindle, we'll symptoms into your clutches, yes, into your clutches. Or good with a debtor, you cannot do better.
And trot out a duke or a duchess.
A duke or a duchess.
Majesty.
The Duke of Plaza Toros, I presume.
The same. Allow me to present
The young lady one of us married.
Gentlemen, I'm most obedient servant of Bonnet. Louis.
I am about to address myself to the gentleman whom my daughter married. The other may allow his attention to wander if he wishes, for what I have to say does not concern him. Sir, you will find in this young lady a combination of excellences which you would search for in vain in any young lady who had not the good fortune to be my daughter. There is some little doubt as to which is the gentleman I am addressing and which is the gentleman who is allowing his attention to wander. But when that doubt is solved, I shall say, still addressing the attentive gentleman, sir, take her, and may she make you happier than her mother has made me, if possible. And now, there is a little matter to which I think I am entitled to take exception. I come here in state, with Her Grace the Duchess, and Her Majesty my daughter, and what do I find? Do I find, for instance, a guard of honor to receive me? No.
No.
The town illuminated? No.
No.
Refreshment provided? No.
No.
A royal salute hired? No.
No.
Triumphal arches erected? No.
No.
The bell set ringing?
No.
Yes, one. The visitors, and I rang it myself. It is not enough. It is not enough.
My dear sir, upon my honor, I'm very sorry, but you see, I was brought up in a spaghetti house, and my ideas of politeness are confined to smiling at my customers when they tip me.
Oh, well, that's all very well in its way, but it is not enough.
I'll smile at anything else in reason.
But a royal salute for my daughter. It costs so little.
Papa, I don't want a salute.
My dear sir, as soon as we know which one of us is entitled to take that liberty, she shall have as many salutes as she likes.
As for guards of honor and triumphal arches, you don't know our people. They wouldn't stand for it.
They're very offhand with us. Very offhand indeed.
Oh, you must not allow that. You must keep them in proper discipline. You must impress the court with your importance. You want deportment, carriage.
We've got a carriage.
Manner, dignity. There must be a good deal of this sort of thing, and a little of this sort of thing, and possibly just a soupçon of this sort of thing, and so on. Oh, it's very useful and most effective. Just attend to me. You are a king. I am a subject. Very good. I am a courtier, grave and serious, who is about to kiss your hand. Try to combine a pose imperious with a demeanor nobly planned. Let us combine a pose imperious with a demeanor nobly planned. That's if anything too unbending, too aggressively stiff and grand. Now to the other extreme you're tending, don't be so instantly on this ending.
Now to the other extreme you're tending, don't be so dreadfully condescending.
Oh, what to be some nobleman see, as much as anything too unbending. For we go to the other extreme, to confine condescending.
Now under what performs sedately, offer your hand with conscious pride. Take an attitude not too stately, still sufficiently dignified.
Now for an attitude not too stately, still sufficiently dignified.
Once blink, twice blink, once blink, twice blink, bow impressively ere you ride. Handle both, hold it nicely, that is the style of thing precisely.
Hold it nicely, that is the style of thing precisely.
birds have gone away and left the young chickens together. That's called tact.
We really ought to tell her how we're situated. It's not fair to the girl.
Then why don't you do it?
I'd rather not. You.
I don't know how to begin. We. That is several of us.
Gentlemen, I am bound to listen to you. But it is right to tell you that not knowing I was wed in babyhood, I'm head over heels in love with someone else.
Our case exactly. We're head over heels in love with someone else. In point of fact, with our wives.
Our wives? They were married? It's not our fault. We knew nothing about it. We are sisters in misfortune. Girls, I don't blame you. But before we go any further, we really must come to some satisfactory arrangement, or get hopelessly complicated.
Here's a case of precedented hurricane and wind of sun. Every time was first invented, never was known a case of law.
I'm misunderstood, was acted by a profound catastrophe.
Through a calamity unexpected, I'm divisible into three.
I'm misunderstood,
I'm divisible into three. Through a calamity, I'm divisible into three. A woman is born, harmony born, marriage is state of unity. When excellent husbands are expected, one's divisible into three. A woman is born, harmony born, marriage is a state of unity. Unity. Woman is born, harmony born, marriage is a state of unity. Woman is born, harmony born, marriage is a state of unity. Foster mother.
the king entrusted to my fond care. Ere I grew old and crusted, when traitors came to steal his son reputed, my own small boy I dare be substituted. Don Alhambra fell into the trap completely. I hid the prince away, still sleeping sweetly. I caught his son with pardonable slyness. His name, Louis. Behold his royal highness.
This statement we receive with sentiments conflicting, our hearts rejoice and grieve, each other contradicting. To those who we adore, we can be reunited on one life's rather sore, but on the whole, divided.
When others played like dainty and I waited.
As prudence, so I understand, dictated.